Number 9, we're supposed to use the factor theorem and synthetic division to determine if the binomials given are factors of f at x. If they are, use those binomials that are factors to rewrite it in a factored form of f at x. So again, we're using our factor theorem that says if we get a remainder of 0, it is a factor, and if it is a factor, then we should be able to write it in factored form. So synthetic division, I want to make sure I divide by the 0, so I'm going to leave that in there. I want to make sure I get my coefficients of my polynomial. So 1, -2, -9, 1, 6. I want to test and see if this x plus 2 is a factor. If it's a factor, then its 0 is -2. So I'm going to divide by -2, or use synthetic division with -2. So 1 times a -2 is a -2. -2 and a -2 is a -4. And -2 times -4 is a +8. Add those together, you get a -1. That's going to give you a 2. 2 and 1 is 3. 3 times -2 is -6, and -6 and 6 is 0. So because I got a remainder of 0, according to the zero factor theorem, this -2 is a 0, which means x plus 2 is a factor, which means this remaining one here is also a factor, but I want to test the second one that they gave us to see if it's a factor as well. It started as a 4th degree polynomial. Now we have it down to a 3rd degree polynomial. What we've done is we've depressed it into a lower degree polynomial. So now we're going to divide by the second one they gave us, which was x minus 1. That means the 0 is a +1. So I'm going to use the depressed equation right here and bring down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Add it to a -4 is a -3. -3. 1 times -3 is -3. Add them up, we get a -4. 1 times a -4 is a -4. -4 and 3 is a -1. We did not get a remainder of 0, so what that tells me is that this is not a 0, which means it is not a factor, the related factor of x minus 1. So what we ended up with is, we know one factor, and one of the factors is x plus 2, because this gave us a remainder of 0. The other one, the remaining part, which is right here, this is my other factor that worked. It was a 3rd degree polynomial, which is x cubed minus 4x squared minus x plus 3. So this ends up being the factored form of our 4th degree polynomial. And we don't have any other suggestions on what to use for factors, so we're going to assume that this is all that we can use, and that's what's implied in this question. By using the binomials that they were given, they gave to you, see if you can factor it any further, and we were able to, but only one linear factor and a cubic factor.